Podcasting from the Chicagoland area, this is Game On with Jackson Stuart, where we discuss men's lifestyle, focusing on sex, fitness, relationships, business, and more. We'll be interviewing the best of the best, the hot shots, and the rising stars in the worlds of modeling, fitness, cooking, and more. Influencers who are discussing keeping it sexy while at the top of their game. I'm your host, Jackson Stuart. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the game. What if you could be a better player for the cost of one more cup of coffee a month? Get access to a growing library of lit erotica, behind-the-scenes action, and player's guides with tips on drinking, cooking, fitness, dating, sex, and life after dark. Low tier rate while offer lasts. Patreon.com, Game On with Jack. Keep it sexy and game on. Good evening, folks, and welcome to Game On with Jackson Stuart. Tonight we're discussing guys' night, players' do's and don'ts. Things are opening back up. Guys are getting together, hanging out. And, while a lot has changed, some things remain the same. And the fact that guys like to get out, need to get out, but can make mistakes doing so, that has still remain very much so a possibility and a normal, natural occurrence. A couple quick shout outs. Of course, shout out to Stormy Maya, who is coming back on the show. We're excited. She is out there promoting and will be releasing her Cinnamon Babe music debut. Special shout out to Jackpot Beauties. That's Ariana Gray's Slut channel over there on YouTube. Definitely check it out. And big ups to Mai, who I'm going to apologize now because I'm not going to completely get it right, but I think she kicked ass in her Super Mario Kart tournament. So big ups to some guests from the show. Also, we've got exciting interviews coming up. So you guys, like the show, subscribe to the show, check us out on YouTube. You can catch the link from Game On with Jack on Twitter. Definitely, we're working on getting those Twitter, getting those Twitter numbers up. So if you have a second, go to Twitter, Game On with Jack, give us a follow. Totally appreciate it, like it, and totally open to suggestions on guests or show topics that you guys might have. And definitely hit me up, Jackson Stuart 2 on Instagram. Thanks a lot. So let's go ahead and jump into tonight's show, where we're talking about guys' night out and do's and don'ts. And, for me, it's important that you start with the roles in a guy's night. By roles, I mean, like, if you got 5 guys, each guy is fulfilling, a role or a position in the group, whether he's aware of it or not, but I guarantee you he is. So, this is not an exhaustive list, but it's pretty damn close to what you might find in any rollout. So you have the planner. The planner is the guy that, he's the one that everybody goes, hey, we all should get together. And then people leave it at that. And the planner automatically starts thinking, well, I know so-and-so's in town. I know this guy works late. I know this bar is open late. That's just the way the planner's mind works. They are natural organizers. They just sort things out. They like order. They hate chaos. They hate fly-by-your-seat, last-minute shit. So that's the planner / organizer. Then you've got, yes, my allergies are killing me again. You've got Mr. Always Late. Mr. Always Late. Exactly what his name says. He is always fucking late. And I know a lot of these guys, and I love them. Some of these are really stand-up guys. They just never get anywhere on time. Then there's Mr. On Time, who is like the complete antithesis to Mr. Always Late. Mr. On Time, if you tell this guy at 5 o'clock, he's probably going to get there at 4:50 or 4:55. So, we could call him Mr. Early, but let's call him Mr. On Time. That's not as negative, I guess. Mr. On Time is great except he tends to get really irritable because he's always on time and pretty much everybody shows up a little bit later than he does, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and in some cases later than that. So you have to take his role gently, because it's got pros and cons and do's and don'ts. We'll talk about that in a second. There's the Mr. Never Shows Up, who is literally just the guy that says, "Oh yeah, I'm in," and his ass never shows up. I'm laughing because I literally am naming names in my head of friends of mine who I'm like, yep, that's him. There's Mr. Persuasion, or I should say Mr. Needs Persuasion. This is the guy that really wants to go all night with the group. He wants to go just balls to the wall and just go for it, but he has to be talked into everything. And some people have speculated it's like an attention thing. This person wants to be noticed, wants to feel like desired or sought after, so that everybody's like, come on, man, let's go one more place. Let's have one more drink. Like, he's that guy. He's the guy that has to be talked in and everything. It has to be persuaded. And last but not least, the wild card. And once again, I'm laughing. I'm thinking about people who fit that category. Wild cards they're fun, but they come with a price, because wild cards are exactly just unpredictable. They're wild. You're not sure what you're going to get. Maybe they show up early. Maybe they show up late. Maybe they show up with 13 other people who are all like, down the clown and ready to tear a place up. Maybe they want to stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Maybe they want to hit 18 different spots. Like, the wild card tends to just be extra, and very few people are prepared for the wild card. But, they're a lot of fun and they're good guys, but you never know what you're going to get. So those are 6 roles that tend to be common. The planner, Mr. Always Late, Mr. On Time, Mr. Never Shows Up, Mr. Needs Persuasion, and then the wild card. Now, these roles are very personality dependent, right? Like, you can see that the planner typically is a planner in every aspect of his life, or tries to be, or he organizes things. He tends to troubleshoot problems. He tends to like things structured. He probably keeps a calendar or like 1,000 reminders on his phone or his watch. Mr. Always Late is either got a chaotic life with family or friends, or has a job that has him on call. Like, there are things about these guys that are not just appearing when they go out together, but you can just see it sprinkled through their existence all the way through. Can they flip-flop? 100%. I've seen the planner sometimes be, oops, I'm sorry. Just hit something over here. I've seen the planner, be Mr. On Time, and typically it kind of works that way. I've seen Mr. Always Late be Mr. Persuasion. God, I got a friend that, man, I hope he ain't listening, because he literally is rolling his eyes right now. He is Mr. Persuasion, or Needs Persuasion, and he's Mr. Always Late. Now the wild card tends to just be the wild card. The wild card is definitely never the planner, because the planner likes to have things, kind of laid out in advance what's going to happen. Wild cards are just seat of their pants, all of a sudden, spur of the moment kind of people. Wild cards can be Mr. Always Late. I've seen him a lot of times be never shows up, but to be a wild card, you got to make an appearance, and so that pairing is rare. The wild card and the never shows up. Wild cards are most definitely never Needs Persuasion. They are always up for whatever. If they do require any persuasion, it's to like de-escalate whatever kind of shit they want to drag the group through that night. So, with these positions in the group, there's definitely do's and don'ts. There's tips to get the best and to avoid provoking the worst out of each one of these fellas who are in your guys' night out. So let's start with the planner. Definitely a do is to help this bastard out. Like, this guy is probably kind of stressed out because people are giving him, well, I can be here at 6, or I can be here at 4, whatever. How about this place? No, I don't like that. The bartender sucks. I hate the chef. Like, the planner's trying to sort out all these details. So there's some stress to that. Help the planner out. Like, just ask him off to the side. Well, who all are we going to invite? Who's all coming? What do you want to do? Why are we getting together? Is there a special reason? When do you want to get together? Like, be that sounding board for the planner, because otherwise the planner is really kind of a lonely spot in the group. They're really kind of just like, people vomit details and needs and things they can't and can't do, and they expect the planner to sort it all out. It's like a stew. Everybody brings you like frozen ingredients, and then they're like, oh, cool, well, cook us something amazing. And then you're like, what the fuck is this? So talk to the planner, help them plan. They will appreciate it. Do ask them those questions, the who, the what, the when, the where, the how of the night. That'll kind of help sort out everything. Do have a one-on-one conversation with the planner about, what everybody's expecting and what they're trying to do. Don't dump more shit on the planner. Like, oh man, why are you going to pick that place? It's terrible. Don't expect them to solve every single possible scenario. Like, if John can't show up because he doesn't like Kevin, or John can't show up till 6, but Kevin's only good from 5 to 8. Like, don't expect the planner to solve everything. And if you're one of those people who has special times of the night or special requirements, whatever, like, hey, I can't get together with you guys until 9 o'clock. Like, just let it be what it is. And, hey, I can't get there until whatever. Don't wait for me. If everybody can get there at 6, I'll get there when I can get there. You guys have a good time, and I'll catch up with you. Don't stress the planner out more, because that sucks. Mr. Always Late. Do anticipate this guy. And by anticipate, do plan that this person will not show up on time. It's easier that way. Do tell him when and where, but like, subtract about 30 minutes so he's actually on time. So by that I mean, if everybody says they're getting together at 8, you tell him everybody's getting together at 7:30. This works. I do this all the time with my friends that are always late. I tell their asses the time minus 30 minutes. If they're really bad, minus 45. And that way, by the time they walk in, they're actually now Mr. On Time. Now that's gonna screw up sometime, and they're gonna be like, what the hell? I got here, a half an hour ago. You guys weren't here yet. And then, just, hey, cause your ass is always late. So sorry, something happened and that made us all late this time. See how you like it. Next time, be on time. Do decide if Mr. Always Late is really worth waiting for. And by waiting, let's say you guys are going to see a movie and you're trying to figure out what time. It's like, all right, well, the movie starts at 7:15. And Mr. Always Late's like, I'll be there at 7:15. You guys wait for me. And now it's like 7:05, 7:10, 7:20. Decide if you want to wait for his ass, or do you just say, screw it? Like, he's always late. We got to start, and the movie's starting. We're going to go in there. Excuse me. If he is Mr. Always Late, he knows how he is. He shouldn't get pissed off at you. Definitely do have him order ahead of time if he's going to be late. So I have friends that, if we're going out to dinner and the waitress comes over and she's like, hey, can I start you guys off with an order? Mr. Always Late, I'm like, hey, if you text me your order ahead of time, I'll put it in for you. And they do appreciate that. And that way, when their food shows up, you're not sitting there waiting while your food's getting cold because they're on the run. Let their food get colder if they can't get there on time to get it. But that's something that at least alleviates, some of the annoyance to some degree. Don't hinge your plans on Mr. Always Late. That's definitely a don't. Don't say, oh, well, the concert starts at 6, so we're all going to wait. We're going to get together at 5:30. We're going to wait for Mr. Always Late before we leave. No. 5:30 is 5:30. 5:45 you got to leave. Concert starts at 6, whatever the time is. You got to be like exact. And if they miss it, they miss it. But have them buy their ticket ahead of time. Don't buy their ticket for them because you may not, they may not get it. And you got the whole thing about getting reimbursed for a ticket that somebody didn't use. No. Mr. Always Late, put the onus on them. They're responsible for their shit because they're always late. But also, don't make a big deal about the fact that they're always late. Don't let it break your friendship, especially if they're important to you. It's who they are. And, anticipate it, like I said. Mr. On Time. A big do for this person is appreciate the fact that they get there on time. Appreciate that they are where they're supposed to be when they say they're supposed to be. Do anticipate that this person may bitch and moan because they're the only person who ever shows up on time. And then, you got to figure if you can put up with that because, look, real talk, I've been Mr. On Time and I've bitched and moaned when I'm the only person there. And, it's like 10 minutes go by, 20 minutes go by, and nobody's there yet. What I have done to make that enjoyable is, I'm going to sit at the bar. And if the bartender's cool or whatever, I grab a drink and I chill out. I play a lot of solitaire on my phone while I wait for people. And when people show up, I don't sweat it because it's not worth it. You don't want to be the guy that's always pissed off because you're always on time. If you are not Mr. On Time, but he's in the group, like I said, do appreciate him. Do tell him when and where. Maybe add about 20 to 30 minutes so that he's not waiting too long. So if everybody's slow ass is going to get there at 8, but if you say 8, Mr. On Time is going to get there literally at 8, and you guys might trickle in like 8:15, 8:10. Tell him 8:30. That way he shows up and it's like, oh shit, you guys have been waiting for me. There's a benefit, and with Mr. On Time, you can ask him to score the table ahead of everybody. And then when everybody shows up, like let's say he shows up 6 o'clock, boom, dead on the head. And you guys get there like 6:25, and he's already got the table. Because nowadays tables still, it's like a long ass wait. Buy the guy a drink. Like he saved you guys from standing there waiting, staring at the door, so there's a benefit towards letting him be like, the placeholder, but then reward him for the fact that he shows up on time and he did that favor for you guys. Mr. Never shows up, man, skip him. Like, if he's cool and when he does show up, it's a big blast. Let him know the plans, but don't sweat it. Don't track him down. Don't text him. Don't call him if he's not there. And just don't wrap your plans around him because he's Mr. Never shows up. Mr. Needs persuasion. This guy. I'm just laughing because there's so many stories I have about Mr. Needs persuasion. A do with this guy. Hit him up before the night begins. So he has the whole night to debate silently in his head if he's going to move on with the group through the night. So if you know that, first it's dinner, then it's a movie, then it's a bar, let him know like, the day before, hey, here's the plan. We're going to do this, this, and that. So he can sit there in his head and go, I don't know, like, should I, whatever. Look, it's annoying when you do this on the spot. Like, hey, man, like, after we finish dinner, we're going to go out. And then he's like, I don't know, because you don't want to hear that shit. Just Tell him what the plans are ahead of time. He can debate it. And then that way, when it's time to move on to the next part of the evening, he's already decided if he's going to go or not. Let him know like, hey, there's a part B and C. Be cool if he can go with us, and just leave it at that. That's the attention he needs. That's the little sweet talk that he knows that the group wants him to go hang out. But you ain't got to sit there and debate it all night because it gets old and it gets annoying. And, he should be a grown man and know what he wants to do and then, like, do it. The wild card, do love this person for the stories that they have left you with in your life, but do be prepared for anything. Don't let the wild card be in charge. Wild card, say, guys, don't worry about it. Everybody just be at this corner at midnight and be prepared for a good time. Don't walk in that situation because wild cards will have you doing some shit you were not prepared to do in the first place. So do appreciate them. Do enjoy them. Don't let them be in charge. Don't let them take your keys. Don't let them drive. Like, don't let the wild card be the driver for the SUV full of you guys or whatever, the party bus, just because then you're trapped. And unless you are a wild card, you cannot keep up with the wild card. They will burn you out through the end of by the middle of the night. So definitely, enjoy the wild card, but do have your way out of their evening if it gets too much. And that's something that I've lived by. Yeah, I've had wild cards who, are like, Jack, let's roll out. And I'm like, cool. And they're like, all right, we're all going to get together and take 2 vehicles. I'm like, nope, I'll meet you there. And I'm like, because when the shit goes wild, I can always hop in my own car and get out of there. So, and I'll be upfront like, nah, man, I'm going to drive because your shit goes crazy and I don't plan to be up that late. And they don't mind, they know it is what it is. And they appreciate it. So some other tips for a guys' night out, players, do's and don'ts. Probably one of my number one tip is simulate the night ahead of time. Like if you're going out Saturday, like Wednesday or Thursday, run the night through your head. All right. So let's say, you're thinking, all right, Saturday, I know so-and-so has to work weekend, so we'll get together like about 6. We'll pick this spot because the food's good and we get drinks quick. All right, hit there. Hey, what about, are we going to hit that bar afterwards? They got anything going on there and anything? Just take 5 or 10 minutes and just run the day through your head. Now, this might make you the planner. Not necessarily. I mean, you don't have to share this with other people and try and get others' input so you can mold the night to accommodate everybody. But there's good surprises and there's bad surprises. If you simulate ahead of time, you can kind of plan what's going to work for yourself to have a good time. Next tip, definitely have a good time. And sometimes good times, besides being a great show from the 70s, sometimes good times are very simple and surprisingly, what some people might call mundane. Like I rolled out one night and I was talking to a girl there and we started talking about like Swisher Sweets and not unrolling them and packing them with weed, but just Swisher Sweets as they are. And I was like, shit, man, that sounds really good. And I was talking to another girl at the same spot and we started talking about apple pies. And I was like, damn, apple pie would be good. So when I left there, I hit a gas station at like 3:00 in the morning and I bought a pack of Swisher Sweets and a Hostess apple pie. So I spent, the pie was more than the Swisher Sweets. I think it was like a whopping $3.19. And I went home and I smoked one and I ate the pie. And it was a damn good end to a great night. And I hadn't planned it. It wasn't like I spent $1,000 on something. It was fun. It was just kind of cool. So, be open to the flow of unusual good time occurrences for an evening. What's the goal for the night? Why the get together? I mean, and it could just be you guys haven't seen each other in a while. Cool. Old stomping grounds. Got it. Do you think? Or it could be you're celebrating something, somebody's birthday, somebody got a promotion, somebody's getting married, the reason why it's good to know, so maybe there is something special you guys are going to do that night. Like, oh, we're going to hit this spot because so-and-so's in town and this is his favorite spot. Like, you don't want to miss a chance to raise up one of your boys to celebrate something. You don't want to miss that. So you want to know, why are you heading out? And it could just be it's been a rough ass week for everybody. Then it's going to be some drinking and you're going to be prepared. Have a place in mind to finalize that never ending debate in a group. And that shit drives me crazy. You got 4 people. You're going to have 8 different possibilities because everybody has 2. Well, maybe this place, maybe that. And then that debate can go on forever. Have a place in mind where you just say, guys, I'm going to just say, let's do this at 6:00. Boom. Yeah, somebody might say you're being kind of bossy, but ultimately everybody will respect the fact that you just made a decision, which is what a group needs. One person to make a decision. The beginning, the middle, and the ending acts of the night. That way, if Mr. needs persuasion, has to be told ahead of time so he can, play mental tennis about should I or shouldn't I. He's got time to think about it. You also got time to figure out how much cash you want to bring with you. Should you know where an ATM is or in that area? Who's going to drive who? That kind of thing. Beginning, middles, and ends are good to know for an evening. Another tip, think about the place. Is it going to be a long ass wait because it's Friday night and the place gets packed, or it's Saturday and the joint is hopping? Maybe send Mr. On Time ahead of time. Maybe send Mr. On Time ahead to get the table, and then buy him a drink for scoring a seat, and show him some appreciation. The place, is it a game night? Is it a fight night spot? We're talking sports bar where it's like, shit, what time's the game start? What time's the fight start? Is there a cover? Like, I know this can sound like an excessive amount of minute details, but just one of these things can really, not knowing one of these things can fuck up your night. You're like, what do you mean there's a cover charge? I didn't bring cash. I was just going to use my debit card. Now I got to go get cash from somewhere to go pay the cover at the door. Like, you don't want bad surprises. You want good surprises. You don't want bad ones. So think about, if it's a special night, think about the seating, the crowds, slow service. Right now we're still struggling with labor needs at like every restaurant, every bar, everywhere. So take that into consideration if it's going to be a night where stuff is packed. Drinking. Is anybody giving anybody a ride? We're all adults. We all should be responsible, but hey, sometimes you got that one buddy who didn't think that tequila shot was going to hit him as hard as it did. So, just figure that out. Or if somebody's going through some shit, there's going to be the night to blow off some steam. They might hit the sauce kind of hard. Hey, I'll pick you up, man. Drink what you got to drink. I'll make sure you get back home safe. Where's the middle? The middle act, like I said before, beginning act, middle act, ending act of the night. Usually the middle could be a bar where there's no food. So you get your food in you early. Middle spot is just for some drinks. Where's the end? The end is usually some type of club, music, strip club, etc. Usually it's an unwind spot or it's a wind up. Because I know some guys that, man, by the time they hit that ending act, they're getting that second wind. And you're like, oh shit, here's the wild card. We just tacked on another 4 hours for the night. It kind of depends on, who's rolling with you and who's not. As the guy's night moves forward, you're going to pick up people and you're going to lose people. Some people can't go all night. Some people are going to go longer than you can, et cetera, et cetera. Here's a tip. This is a good thing. That's a change in energy, right? It's a shift in the vibe. It's an alteration in the group dynamic. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Don't bring anybody into the group that is going to be an asshole to somebody else. No dicks. I don't mean the dicks that the guys already have, but if there's somebody who is just maybe they're over the top, maybe they're in your face, maybe they're just too much, just ask the group, hey, I was going to text my boy X to join up with us, you guys cool with that. And if you guys are real friends, you'll have no problem hearing, and they'll have no problem saying, hell no, don't bring that guy because, you know, whatever, the tab skyrockets, he never has no money, whatever, you know, he's embarrassing, he gets drunk, he berates people, whatever it is. Like, just before you throw an extra packet of Kool-Aid in the mix, check with the group. Another great tip for players out there for a good guys night out is to be flexible. Maybe you got your heart set on eating in this place, but you get there and maybe they're closed for the night. Something happened. They're too packed. Okay, boom. Go to another spot. It wasn't your first choice, but all right, now it's the new spot. So adapt, be flexible. You know, maybe you're going to a bar and your favorite bartender ain't there. Maybe you're going to a club and your favorite DJ ain't playing. Favorite dancer ain't dancing. Whatever. Be flexible. And, you know, just like I said, make it a good night. Make it a good time. Now, get your asses out there, have some fun, and I'll see you out there.